spawn camping is objectively the most effective strategy. Now, this is a strategy that is frowned upon by some players. Many patches ago, there was a bug that allowed the Shadow to fear the Immortals, forcing them to move, thus losing their 10-second invincibility, allowing the Shadow to kill them before they finish loading. That was a straight up exploitation of the game, and it gave spawn camping a bad name. But that bug has been fixed for a very long time now, and I personally don't have any issues against spawn camping other than the fact that it is overly effective and the fights are generally very short and very boring. To utilize this strategy effectively, you need to satisfy 3 conditions. First, you want a team of players that are relatively good or a pre-made group. It is more difficult to pull this off if you're with a random pickup group. Second, you need at least 2 classes or characters that is able to hold the enemy in place. This would mean either a Crusader with Condemn with Vacuum Essence, a Barbarian with Whirlwind and the Gathering Essence, or a Necro with the Bone Pillar Essence. And third, you need 2 classes that are capable of doing lots of damage in a fairly wide area of effect. The best class and build would be the Wizard with Ice Crystal and Lasers. Demon Hunters are also very good, but any other class and build that is focused on doing AoE damage will be fine. You want your 2 control characters to be on the spawn or near it, constantly in motion. You do not want them to stand still because then they will get CC'd very easily. The damage dealers that are ranged should hang further back so that you are not within CC range of the Immortals. As one of the control characters, your main job would be to keep them in the room CC'd as close as possible on top of each other. As a damage dealer, your main goal is to simply dish out as much damage as you can and keep them in the room for as long as you can. There are many reasons for why this is the best strategy. First of all, in games like this, you always want to be the proactive one. You want to be the one to decide when a fight happens and where a fight happens. The advantage of that in Vault should be obvious. You get to choose when to buff and exactly how to position yourselves before they spawn. For the Immortals, buffing will be very difficult. This is because when they spawn into the map, they will have 10 seconds of invincibility. During this time, they will be immune to all of your attacks, but they're also immune to their allies' buffs. This means an Immortal Crusader or a Necro who wishes to cast Conjuration of Light or Bone Armor on their allies, they will not be able to do so until their allies have moved first, and this adds a whole layer of complexity and coordination that is very difficult to do. Furthermore, this strategy often forces the Immortals to panic and make mistakes. If any Immortals panic and move before their allies do, or before their allies with slower phones even load in, those players will be instantly picked off. As you can see from the sample clips, the fights were relatively short and clean, and we were able to overcome fairly substantial resonance deficits. If you prefer not to spawn camp, then you would either have to fight in one of the small left or right rooms or at the boss room. This should be determined by how fast the Immortals load into the vault. If they load in immediately like it is in this clip, you do not have the time to go and fight and kill the boss. Fighting in the small rooms is most beneficial for teams that like to fight in small spaces. Teams that are melee heavy or with classes that have very large areas of effect like the Wizard would enjoy fighting in the small room. However, do note that once you're inside the small room, you are effectively trapped. You should do everything you can to lure the opponent into your room and not try to push back out. This is because fighting through the choke point is very dangerous. As for your positioning inside the room, you should all try to spread out as much as possible to avoid getting hit by areas of effect, and this is true no matter where you fight. As you can see in this fight, our opponents charge into the room, allowing me to hit all of them with my Ice Crystal and Disintegrate, and also allowing me to catch 2 or 3 of them at a time with Black Hole. In this following clip, our opponents did not spawn in immediately, so we have the time to kill the boss. Fighting in the boss room is preferable to fighting in the small rooms because the boss drops a large amount of health globes. And as a wizard, I could always use the extra room for maneuverability. One important note is that on this boss, the health globes that you see him spawn is for you only. Your ally have their own set of health globes, and the Immortals cannot see these health globes. This means you and your allies effectively have 4 to 5 lives each. The globes that spawn from the health fountains, like the one on the left, those are shared between all players including the Immortals, which means that they can take it from you. Try to be smart and conserve the health globes from the boss, since no one else can take it from you. Here you want your tanky melee classes to be in the front, that way they can temporarily slow down the Immortals when they charge in. As you can see, a Crusader that has Conjuration of Light and Condemn with Vacuum is the perfect ally to have in this fight. Between Condemn, Whirlwind, and Ice Crystal, our opponents never had a chance. Next, I want to showcase a few clips using different builds. Here, I'm using the same Battle Mage build that I was using in my previous PvP Vault Guide. With this build, my goal is to wait out their first wave of cooldowns and look for an opportunity to teleport into their backlines and hunt down their squishy units. In this fight, both my allies and the opponents are fairly good players and they're all doing the right thing. We're dancing back and forth, trying to bait the opponents into moving into the choke point. As you can see here, one of our opponents got caught and the rest of his team rushed in to try and save him, which created the perfect opportunity for me to teleport past their front line and instantly killed their back line. Once again, the Immortals spawned immediately, so we are forced to fight in the right room. In this clip, I'm using the Phantom Assassin build that I showcased in my most recent Battleground guide. It's worth noting that this side room is not a good place for this build, and I'm going to be looking for every opportunity that I can to get out of this room. This build is highly independent and does not offer much to my team by being here. My best option is to escape this room, utilize guerrilla tactics, and do hit and runs. My health is falling quite low, so I'm going to run for some health globes. I'm leaving my team to fend for themselves, but once again, this is how this build is played. Here I find the perfect target to assassinate. In this clip, one of our allies is on PC and is guaranteed to crash on the 2nd and 4th floors due to a bug. We've decided to try for the 3 vs 4 anyway, and it looks like the Immortal is going to give us the time to down the boss, and this is a huge advantage because having those health globes is very important. It looks like we got very lucky. The Immortals never came, and our disconnected ally has just reconnected. As always, tanky classes in the front, all the other classes spread out. I am once again using my Phantom Assassin build, so my primary objective is to teleport to the back. The Immortals are quite strong this time around. One of my allies is dead, and the second one has just triggered his gladiator. This is a very scrappy fight with small skirmishes all over the place. Fights like these are advantageous for the Shadow player because of all the health globes that are available to us. As you can see from my allies, their health was down to nothing and has gone back to full, back down to nothing, and back down to full multiple times. For this final clip, I will showcase a match where we lost. The Immortal spawned immediately, so we did not have time to fight the boss. Here you can see that our opponents are highly coordinated, most likely on voice chat. They've baited my Necro ally from using his ultimate, and then they completely ignored us and ran to the boss room. As the person with the highest mobility in the team, I wanted to act as a scout, but I was caught and lost most of my life, and was forced to use my one healing potion. Once again, our opponent is trying to bait us out of the room, and they've successfully baited out my Necro ally. Luckily, he got away. Their Crusader used Conjuration of Light. We didn't see this at the time, otherwise I would have taken advantage of it and chased him down. If you remember the beginning of the video when I said that you always want to be proactive so you can decide when the fight happens and where it happens, you can see here that it is our opponent who decided when to fight and where to fight. They were much better coordinated, they were proactive, and we fell apart. I think I made a judgment error here. I could have had an opportunity to resurrect my ally. At the time, I felt like I wouldn't have enough time to resurrect him, but I should have tried anyway. The auto attack from that Demon Hunter cancelled my teleport, and that spelled my death, because I was relying on the invisibility after the teleport to get away. That match really highlights the importance of being coordinated and being proactive. And that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content.